Hello and welcome to Partly Crafting. My name is Thomas and today we will be doing an in-depth review of the Generation 3 Jinifire Long doll from monsterHigh. This video is perfect if you're an adult doll collector, if you're just getting into doll collecting, or if maybe you're just looking to buy the doll for a family or a friend. This is the perfect doll, in my opinion, for all of those things, so let's get into why that is. So, as I said before, this doll is the Generation 3 version of Jinifire Long. Jinafire Long is a monsterHigh character based on a Chinese dragon. This iteration of the character features a lot more culturally appropriate and accurate themes. I'm not going to get too much into the controversies of the original character or the doll, but if you want to find out more about that, I will link some resources in the description for you to do research on your own. Okay, so this is what Jinifire looks like straight out of the box. Some key points of her look. Her main colour palette is green, purple and red, as well as some gold accents. Her hair is a dark purple and there's two shades of purple in there that are blended together, a little bit like Generation 1 Elizabeth's hair. As well as that, she has lilac money pieces and a kind of green highlights at the back. Her general overall skin tone is a pale green, which is very different to the original Generation 1 Jinifire, who was gold. To bring some of that gold in, they have given her gold calves, hands and ears, as well as gold accents throughout the doll. Her makeup is very nice. It's a very striking purple, orange and gold eye look with some scales to pull in with the skin texture on her gold body parts. She also has red lipstick and bottom fangs. She has also got a right looking side glance, which I really enjoy dolls with a side glance. I think they give a lot more life and, you know, they can almost interact with the other dolls on the shelf in that sense. Her outfit features a black halter top with lilac foil printed Chinese clouds on it, which is a bit of a mouthful to say, but it looks really nice, and she's got this red ribbon holding it up. She's also got a kind of satin brocade lilac pleated skirt, which is really beautiful, and it's pleated in a formation where you've got one pleat at the front and they go out instead of just across like a regular pleated skirt, like a tennis skirt or something like that. She also has this plastic belt. I'm not a fan of the plastic belts, especially when they've got chains like this. I feel like they could have very easily made this detached. But, you know, it's very cute. It's got some gold accents and kind of buckles going on. Quite well painted for a G3 monsterHigh accessory. She's also got a jade necklace, 2 jade hoops on her right ear, and 1 Chinese red tassel on her left ear. She has this big kind of almost 80s blazer, and it's in a red satin with gold cuffs and a gold dragon brooch. I really like this. It reminds me of that one photo of Grace Jones, purely because of these huge shoulders. I really like it. And then moving down the doll, she does have a tail like her Generation 1 doll does, but they didn't make a new sculpt for it, which I thought was really interesting. I think this doll is really cool, but they did cheap out on the sculpting a little bit. I love Generation 1 Jinifire. She was my favorite character in the series in monsterHigh, but I think that this Generation 1 tail looks too skinny given how skinny the original dolls were, and now they have the Generation 3 have more realistic body types. I think it just doesn't fit her body. I think she would have looked much better with a thicker tail like the new Toralei does, but that's a very minor issue. It's also got painted kind of jade green hair on the end, and it is sculpted solid like the original. The paint on mine is a little bit messy. It's not that bad, but you can definitely tell that it's painted, whereas the original one I remember being a little bit more high quality than that. Moving on down, she's got gold kind of sculpted scale shins and calves, like lower legs, I guess. and then these kind of screen printed scale gold details on her knees, which are meant to kind of blend the gold up into the green, but I'm not sure if it works too well. I think it just looks like a really weirdly placed tattoo. I mean, I guess from far away, if you squint, it looks good, but it does look a bit weird in person, to be honest. Her shoes are kind of one of the main showstoppers of this doll. Big black boots with that kind of point toe, which is very present in a lot of East Asian shoes, as well as these big platform soles with heels with these dragons coming off of them, almost like the helm of a boat. These shoes have kind of cutouts, and coming down from them, another red tassel. On the sides, we've got this purple to blue to green dragon painted on the sides, which I think looks really nice. And these are sculpted brilliantly, like really, really detailed. So I've seen some people kind of pull those details out and they just look brilliant. So that is the doll overall. We'll go into the accessories pack next. Quick note about the hair is that it's in this kind of twisted back style, which looks good in the box, but as soon as I took it out, it pinged up. And because it's been gelled in place, it kind of makes this weird poofy situation. So I'll probably try and take this out and redo it myself later on, but it's a very pretty kind of subtle hairstyle. And she does have saran hair, which is nice. I know a lot of people get really angry at poly hair. I'm not the biggest kind of connoisseur of doll hair, but I do think that this is very nice. It feels very silky and soft, although not to kind of go against everyone, but I think saran hair feels a little bit greasy at times, just a little bit like too slick, but it is very nice, and you can definitely kind of see how much better it sits compared to poly hair. Okay, so overall she has 11 accessories. With, I'd say, some of the main ones being a sketchbook in which she has designed the outfit she is currently wearing, and you can see it's got some swatches of the fabric on. This is just printed down onto the sketchbook, but I think it is quite cute. My one is slightly misaligned, which I think is going to be a common problem with these dolls, so I would be aware of that if that's something you struggle with. And it has the monsterHigh emblem on the back with some cobweb detailing. Coming up the plastic box, there is also a coat hanger for, I suppose, her jacket. I don't use these because I don't have like a clothes rail for my dolls, but I guess if you have like a dollhouse, that might work well. She also has a phone, which I think is really cool. It's got a dragon and some clouds swooping around the screen, as well as the back, kind of more clouds coming up from the top and some waves and a dragon. She has this dress form that is in the same size, like same shape as her body, and has her little tail coming off of it, which I think is very cute. She also has a jade pen with her pet on it, a yogurt pot with a straw, which is really interesting to me. I don't know if that's a Chinese thing or maybe it's an American thing, but we don't have those in England, unless it's like an Actimel with a straw, but I've never seen that before. So that's very cute. I'm not really into the food for dolls, but they are cute when they include them. She has 2 jade bracelets. She has this big bangle with some cloud detailing on it, which I will show you later, and this lovely little dainty beaded one. She also has, finally, these big purple sunglasses which have flames and smoke coming off of them and raindrops at the bottom. They're just a translucent purple, and I think they fit her very well. Next, she has this bag, which I think is one of the best monsterHigh Generation 3 bags we've gotten so far. It's so detailed, and it's made out of a solid plastic, which I really like. One thing I can't stand with like doll accessories is when they're made of this squishy vinyl, because they just distort, especially like belts can come out twisted and things, but this is really nice. It has a really nice opening mechanism. It just kind of pops open and there's a lot of space in there. So if you wanted to, you could put her accessories in there and then just snap it shut. And it's very, very cute. Finally, she has her pet, which is a gold, it's kind of a mix between a dog, I'm not I don't really like dogs, so I don't know the name of it, but it's one of those little like frou-frou dogs. And it's inspired by the Chinese dragon dancers. You may have seen them on social media, where there's usually about 6 to 10 people underneath there, and they're all dancing together. It looks really cute. And he's got little paws underneath, and I think it works really well. It's very like simple but effective, and he looks very good next to her, which is always nice. Okay, so if I were to liken her to any existing doll in terms of quality and nothing else, I would say she fits this, I think it's Pet's Friend, Cleo Denial. I got this one in Target when I was in Los Angeles. I don't know if she's available in England. I think she is, but I haven't checked because I already have her. She is brilliant. I might do a review for her if you guys want, but I'd say she's very similar quality in the sense that it's a lot of like plasticky satin fabric, but it's also very well printed, and she's got a good quality face and good quality hair. I believe this doll is Saran, actually, now that I'm kind of feeling the hair, same hair quality, as well as the pets are both of like a very high quality. If you look at these two compared to this one, I would say that that's pretty solid quality wise. So I would say a solid doll, not by any means kind of cheap or like tacky, but also not like crazy powerful incredible doll. So I would say somewhere in between the Generation 3 original release Abby Abominable, which I have up there, and a Generation 3 Venus Flytrap doll. I'd say somewhere in between, but then there's a lot of shine and shimmer on this doll, which does make her feel more expensive to a lot of people. So I guess that's also a talking point if you feel that way. Overall quality of the kind of accessories, I would say really good. A nice mix and quite a few unique ones in here. We've got this doll stand, which I think is just really interesting. I haven't seen something like that before in a doll. I'm not sure if they've released a kind of doll, a little kind of mannequin situation, but very cute. Definitely for children, I would say. I can't imagine a situation where I would display her with this, but obviously if you're not a collector and you are just kind of someone looking to buy it for a child in your life, definitely, I mean, the playability of this is endless because there's so many accessories. And I mean, a pen, she could just draw anything, so that's really interesting to me. I do like to look at both sides of like adult collectors and just children playing with toys, because that is the key demographic of these dolls in my eyes. So I think now what we'll do is we will undress her so we can look at what body type she has, her articulation, and how her clothes kind of interact with each other and the quality of the clothes. Also, I would just like to say that I have got her posed on a Generation 1 monsterHigh doll stand. I do have a pack of 12 doll stands coming from Amazon that supposedly fit Generation 3 dolls, but obviously there's no way of knowing because Generation 3 monsterHigh don't come with stands except for the Skulltimate Secrets behind me. So that'll be interesting. I'll let you know about that when they come tomorrow. Motorbike. But yeah, now let's get on with kind of undressing her. Just a little pro tip that I learned from painful experience is that when removing Generation 3 monsterHigh doll arms to get the clothes off, remove them at the elbow. I have removed like dolls' hands before, which is fine, and you are supposed to do that, but Generation 3 dolls seem to have quite weak hand joints. And for example, the Frankie Stein that I customized into Nyx from the Dragon Prince, I actually ended up customizing her because her hand was wrecked. I kept taking it off to put her jacket on and off, and it just snapped, and I had to fix it with a pin, and it didn't look right. So especially with a doll with such ornate hands, you would notice it very clearly if they did break. So I would say make sure to take off the elbows because that's solid plastic and that is like a rubber vinyl. Okay, so now I have basically dismantled her to the very most that you can without breaking her, just so you can see the full range of kind of what's going on with this doll. So this is kind of the base doll that, you can't take anything else off of her at this point. So she's got her purple hair, and I like that Generation 3 are sticking strong with the chest articulation. I love to see it. It's really good for posing, and both for play and also for, if you're a collector, they look good on the shelf. So I think definitely really happy that they're sticking with this. She has shoulder joints, elbow joints, wrist joints, a neck joint, which moves in kind of the classic monsterHigh way, where they can lift their head up and down and all around, which is really nice because some dolls can only look left and right, so it's nice that she can look in a kind of 360. She has chest articulation, as I said, hip articulation, and knee articulation. That is a lot of articulation for a doll, and I'm really glad to see it. This is the tail. So as I said, this is a Generation 1 Jinifire Long tail with some adjustments. As you can see, to get around the kind of bigger, more round bottom of these dolls, they have kind of made the kind of stick a lot longer that you poke into her stomach. But it doesn't look too bad when it's on the doll. I will show you that in a bit. I have kept the hands and arms off to show you the true detail of these hands because I think they're really beautiful. She has these beautiful scales going on and all of these dots, which I think are supposed to be scales. And then she has these finger spikes, which are a kind of accessory traditionally worn by the Chinese monarchy. And I'll put some photos up of that. But I think it's really beautiful and regal, and it really adds to the doll because it gives her that sense of kind of dangerous glamour, as it were. Very gothic as well, like the original Generation 1 dolls. As you can see, these are her ears. As I mentioned before, I think they just look strange. They're really nice, but I think just on their own like this look so disjointed. I think even just if we're going to stick with the style of some green and some gold, some decals here on her ears would have looked really nice. In honesty, I don't like the green skin tone. I'm not one of those people that will defend Generation 1 into the ground. In my opinion, as a Generation 1 collector, Generation 3 is leaps and bounds ahead of it in so many aspects. I think Generation 3 is just better. But I will say that I think she should be gold. There was a lot of controversy around it being gold, and I will talk about that in a minute, but I will move on to the clothes and accessories first. So her clothes are actually done very well by monsterHigh standards, in my opinion. She has this really nice blazer that is actually kind of double layered to create this kind of shoulder pad effect, but it's hollow and it's like pleated. It's really, really classy. I really like it. As well as this gold brooch, which I think is a little bit ridiculously big, but it is very cute. The kind of stick, I think it's supposed to be tassels, but it does just look like a stick, and I'm not too keen. But, I mean, it's very cute. It's just a bit bulky when you put it on, so be aware of that. Her skirt is really nice, really beautiful pleating in the front, but not in the back, which I thought was interesting. But it does save on fabric, so I don't really mind if it kind of saves the budget for other things. Her shirt is just a very simple kind of like, I'm not sure if this is a halter top technically because it doesn't go around her neck, but it's got that kind of halter neckline, and it's very nice black with simple lilac Chinese clouds on there in lilac foil. And then she has these giant boots, which I think are so, so nice and really glamorous. They are sculpted on both sides, but only printed on the outside, which I think is a fair call from monsterHigh. From a business standpoint, it would be a bit stupid to paint both sides. I mean, most shoe companies don't even put as much detail onto both sides, so I don't really mind that. The sculpting is incredible. I do wish that this red ribbon paint across the ribbons at the top would have gone down each layer, because that was the intention and you can see that it was. but I have seen some customizers paint them and they have done a brilliant job. So there is potential in these shoes, a lot of potential. These shoes have a big platform on them, which I think looks really nice, and they are painted gold over top of the black. So in places you can see the black, but I don't really mind that too much, because if you watch my channel, you'll know that I always paint black underneath gold because it gives it more depth anyway, and it definitely has that effect on these boots, which I do really enjoy. The heel has this kind of dragon with smoke coming out from it on the heel, and it kind of reminds me of the helm of a ship, kind of with those big mermaids on the front. I will put a picture up, but the shoes are incredible. This top is nice, simple, does the job. This skirt is beautiful. I mean, this pattern is crazy. And again, this is really striking. I think really bulky, but very striking. None of it is lined, but that's not expected from a Playline doll company, but just in case you were wondering. This is her sculpted belt. I'm not a fan of sculpted belts on dolls in most occasions, and although this one is nice in the way that I style her on my shelf, I have taken it off, but it is very nice, very classic. Although in my opinion, I think that the gold paint shouldn't be here. I don't know if that's just me, but it looks like there should be a gold buckle and then this should be red because it's part of the belt. But then it's sculpted, so I really don't understand what was going on there. But it doesn't look bad. Do you know what I mean? It's still nice. It's just a bit strange. These are her accessories, as I showed you before. So, got a jade bead necklace, and the red tassel, and jade earrings, and her tail. Now that the whole doll, you've seen, you know, her articulation and all of her accessories, now we can move on to how I would style her and some thoughts on the character herself. So this is going to be some of my final statements. This is how I like to style my doll. Just pose her in a cool way. There's so many good poses on Pinterest and TikTok, as well as just Google if you don't use those social media platforms. I think she's brilliant. I think if you're looking to get into monsterHigh Generation 3, she is one of the best, in my opinion. I think she's on par with Venus McFlytrap, as well as, what's her name? Spectra Vondergeist. I think she is just really beautiful, and I think it would be really cool to see more inclusions of her in more lines like Skulltimate Secrets in the future. I cannot wait for my new stands to come, because Generation 1 dolls were ridiculously skinny and no other doll fits on their stands. I think she is very beautiful. I think the colour scheme is really nice. I think if you can separate your mind from Generation 1, this is an incredible standalone doll. And I think if this was my first time I had heard of Jinifire, or if they gave this character a new name, I would be even more obsessed with her than I am already. I think a lot of people are a little bit blinded by Generation 1, and I think it's really good to separate them as two different entities, because this is an incredible doll, and I think the quality of this is so much stronger than Generation 1 that even me, as Jinifire is my favorite character, I can't just like ride along on nostalgia for this. Like, this is incredible. I'm not going to get too into the controversies, because I'm aware that I am an English white man, so I don't think it's my place, and I don't want to spread any more like misconceptions about the controversies if I get something wrong. So what I will say is that there is so many resources on Google or social media, and I will try and link some YouTube videos in the description of information on why monsterHigh Generation 1 was both equally really good for inclusion and really quite stereotypical, and kind of built up a couple boundaries as well. But I think this doll did a really good job at sidestepping that, and I feel like they did a lot more research into the cultures than they did beforehand. If you are a parent looking to get this doll for your child, or if you're a child looking to ask your parent for this doll, I would say it's a very good one. All of the accessories are really good for a proper, like, good range of play. You've got food, you've got drawings, you've got kind of fashion design, phones. I mean, you can have so much fun with this. I would be obsessed with this doll if I was, you know, young enough to be playing with my friends with dolls. As well as this, if you're a collector, I would say definitely go for it. I haven't regretted buying her, and I haven't regretted buying any of my Generation 3 monsterHigh dolls. Actually, they're posable, they've got lots of accessories, I think they just work very well, and they're a very strong doll line. So, yeah, and the pets are very, very cute. I think Generation 1 pets borderlined on creepy, and I didn't like them, but this is really, really cute. So yeah, I think that is all of the statements I have for this doll. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section below and I will try and respond to them. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever I release a new video. I should have a customization video up in the next couple months, but college is hard, so I will kind of take that as much as I can, and I am planning to make more review videos in the process because they're fun and they're easy and you guys like them, so I will keep going with that. Let me know any dolls that you would like me to review and I will try and get on that. And I think with all that out of the way, I will see you in the next video. Thank you. Okay, so I just wanted to quickly show you what I got. So I did get these on Amazon. I will link them in the description. But I got these clear stands, which I do actually have pink and purple versions of these, and I didn't realize they were like Amazon stands when I got them, because I got them with a job lot of dolls. But so that's quite cool. And I really like them. I'll show you them up on my shelf with my dolls in a sec. And then I also got this, like, I think it's 1,000 pack or something, or maybe 500 of clear elastic bands, because I've got brown ones, but obviously you can see them when you try and attach stuff to dolls. So now I can use this to reattach accessories and whatnot. So I will show you how I've put both of those items into place. Okay, so as you can see here on my G3 section of my doll shelf, I have the clear stands, which are working really well. I mean, if I zoom out, like, you cannot see the stands. They just look like they're stood there, like, compared to the usual black and pink ones. Do you know what I mean? So that's really nice. And also what's interesting about them is that they've got these kind of tabs on the front and the back, and those are actually to put cards of authentication on them, I think. But that's what I've done with this doll that I actually won in a giveaway on Instagram. And it's very pretty, but I was able to put the little card she wrote for me in the back. I didn't put it in front because I don't want to cover up the doll. But yeah, that's there, so I can always make sure that I know that that is from the very generous artist on Instagram. Very nice. So yeah, and I've put these up with clear stands. I've never had an excess of doll stands before, but now I've got like 6 free. I've also been able to stand her up. It's a very good day.